In this training, we're going to talk about plans and specifically just how to think about creating your plans for building your business coaching practice. Recently, I did a podcast on some big things that could potentially sabotage your coaching journey in 2026. And we went through that. If you haven't seen it, you can go back on here on the YouTube channel if you're looking at this on YouTube, and you can see that there. And the question I got, though, was, well, there's all these things, whatever, but one of those was not developing and following a strong plan. And so some of the feedback that I got was that, well, then what are the specific plans? Like, what are the specific things that I should be doing to develop, myself in 2026 and so on? And so here's the, I'm gonna give you one big way to look at it, because that's a big, big question. It's almost like saying, hey, I got to build a house. How should I build a house? Well, you want a 1,500 square feet house, a 1,000 square foot home? Do you want a 1 level, a 2 level? Like, there's a lot of things that go along with that, right? I think it's fair for everyone to know that for the most part. So, but I'm going to give you a way to look at it in just the client acquisition part of it. Because client acquisition, look, every business needs customers. Every business needs more customers. And every business needs to be compelling to get those customers. A business that's been around for 25 years still needs a compelling way that they are going to get customers, right? So that'll always be a part of your ball game. For coaches, there's going to be seasons where you're doing a lot of that and seasons you're doing none of that. It just depends upon what you're trying to do. Okay, so you can go back and look at that, listen to that podcast. I think it'll make sense. But here is a way from a training perspective when it comes to making plans regarding client acquisition, okay? Look, the reality is there's a number of ways to do it. There are. And one of the challenges that a lot of coaches face is they try to do too much at the same time. Example, in our Done For You system, we train on a number of ways for client acquisition. If you desire to go to networking events, if you're going to create workshops, if you like getting in front of 5 to 8 people, 10 people in a conference room style, your sphere of influence, the people that already know you, already like you, already trust you. How to create joint ventures. In other words, how do you team up and partner with someone else where you both win and help build one another's business? Like, that's called a joint venture program. So there's a number of ways. Kind of the list goes on. I hate to say it that way. Some that are at the scale level, they're trying to scale from 6 figures to 7 figures using paid marketing, right? So here's the danger. One, I'm an advocate for about, we'll call it 80 to 90% of strategists, coaches, and consultants to only choose no more than 2 strategies at a time. So we're talking about creating a solid plan regarding client acquisition, just that part of it. And I say all the time, I'll continue to say, there's 3 pillars that matter. Where do I get leads and prospects? How do I convert those prospects into ongoing high-paying monthly clients? And third, how do I coach those clients to get results with simplicity? And so most of the coaches on our team, and one of the cool things about our team is that we give you all the resources and tools, a complete and total done-for-you platform. If you're on our team, you know that, but it's still your name, your brand. It's not a franchise. You get to go do it your way, charge what you want, keep 100% of what you earn, have 1 client or have 100. It's up to you as to how you want to do that. But you do have to make a decision when it comes to what strategies and how am I going to pour my energy into client acquisition. Each one of those pillars needs a plan. So the right way to do a plan when it comes to client acquisition is the first thing is to choose the strategies that I'm going to spend my time, my energy in developing. Example, let's say that I'm going to do 1, I'm going to do a workshop strategy. Number 2, I'm going to do joint ventures. That's it. Because I can tell you, if done correctly, just those 2 strategies alone will keep you busier than you have a lot of time for. Now, in building that plan, so number 1, I've already said, these are the 2 things that I'm going to do. Now, I'm going to go further and work out what it means and what I'm going to do regarding those 2 strategies. Let me give you an example. The mistake that coaches will make when it comes to workshops, for instance, is they only do 1. I'm going to try 1 and see how it goes. Like, that's their vernacular. Well, here's what I can tell you. You do 1, almost might as well not even do 1. Why? Because there's 3 phases of a workshop. 1, inviting people, even if it's 5 to 8 to 10 people, inviting people, get into the room. 2, presenting to them. 3, follow-up. Well, if any one of those really falter just for 1 event, the event, maybe it doesn't go as well. But what if you plan to do 5, 7, 10 of them over a period of time? Even if it was just once a month or 3 times in a month. Now, I'm a fan of frequency matters. So if in your plan, I'm going to do 2 events per month every 2 weeks, and I'm going to do 5 months in a row. That's 10 workshops. You can do 1 a week if you wanted to, but let's just say you did 2. Here's one of the values. 1, you're going to adjust and learn as you go, period. So let's say you do the first one. That didn't work. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do this instead. Now you're learning. I can tell you right now, by the 5th event that you do, you're going to be far better, and you're going to get significantly more traction and clients from it than doing just 1, period. Period, 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 period. And so as my strategy, I'm going to do 10 events over a month period. Now you see what's starting to work out. If that strategy is going to be one of the ways that I'm going to going to look at client acquisition, I'm just having a full-blown framework for developing leads and prospects. Now, as a part of my strategy for doing workshops, is that I'm going to make a list of all the people in my sphere of influence that I want to invite. And I'm also going to make a selection, or a section rather, of new people I don't know yet that I'm going to learn through other people and make the invitation. As I begin to build relationships with those in the business community, both those that I know and don't know, one of the things I'm going to do as a call to action is to invite them to the workshop. Here's the cool thing about doing multiple. And we're not just camping out on workshops. I mean, just to give you an example. Love talking with you, man. I love all things business like you do. I want to invite you to something I think that you're going to get a lot of value. It doesn't cost you anything other than a little bit of time. I've got a breakfast coming up in 2 weeks where we're going to get together, about 8 of us or so, and I'm going to really sit down and show you strategically how to significantly improve your profitability, even double the profits of your business. You're going to meet some other people in the room. You're going to see what's working for them. It's a great time. Breakfast is on me, blah, 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 blah. And I'm paraphrasing, but you get the idea. Like, that's a part of your strategy and action items, is to make that invitation all the time. Now, if Bill were to say, man, I'd love to come, but dude, I'm tied up that day. I've got this thing coming up, or about a town that time, whatever. Because you've planned more than 1 or more than 2, you could say, no worries. I've got another one at the end of January or the middle of February at this date. How about that? Your show up rate is going to be significantly higher because you have multiple ones when people can't make them, or that morning of the event they're planning on coming, tire blows out, AC goes out, sick, whatever. You're still going to be able to get them to show up because you have another one already scheduled. Okay? So there's an example of a solid plan utilizing workshops. Then, if I'm going to have 10 events, 5 months, right? I'm going to try to get at least 8 people in the room, 10 ideal, but 8 people in the room. I'm going to make at least, 100 plus invitations or more. So part of my plan is that I'm going to make sure that I invite X amount of people every single week in different ways. Just different conversations, different things. I'm gonna make my list, reach out to them. And that's a part of my job every single week. Invite 10, 12, 15 people, whatever the number may be. That's the goal, is that every single week I'm inviting X amount of people, some organic, some in email, some in text. You get the point. I'm gonna make a plan that says Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I gotta make sure, and you can make this really, really simple. For context, let's say that I'm going to invite, 10 people a week. Let's say that was the number, and I'm just making that number up. I had to sit down and really work some things out to know what that number would be. If that was the number, and if it was 10, guess what? I can make it really easy and make 2 invitations a day. Now, as a part of my solid plan, I have a really simple process here. I just need to invite 2 people. Now, you may hear that and go, 2 people? That's not that much. Exactly. But when you don't have a plan, you'll go 2 or 3 days. You won't do anything. A week, you won't do anything. All of a sudden, things are overwhelming. I forgot where I was at. Did I invite them or not? Whatever. When you make things really, really simple and you break everything down into just little bitty, what's that term? You eat the elephant one bite at a time. I never understood where that came from. That's an odd thing to say. You just eat the elephant one bite at a time. Anyway, you get the point though. You want to break things down into small steps that you can do daily or a few times a week. That's the bigger goal. So when we say the terms solid plan, it means that I want to make things consumable and simple and break them down and make them, and then learn to adjust as I go. So when it comes to plans, and I said this on the podcast, I would encourage you to go check it out. I think 3 ways that can sabotage your coaching business in 2026 is that if you're not careful, you end up in constant overwhelm when you don't have solid plans. They don't have to be complicated. And by the way, some of the most successful coaches are actually doing the most simple, basic, foundational principles because that's what works. Sure, some of the tools may be new. You may, utilize different things. The way we present, for instance. We use AI tools today to create slide decks versus just creating them by ourselves that we did 10 years ago using PowerPoint. But still, having an effective presentation is going to be important. That part was that way when I was doing this 20 years ago, but we just didn't have the same tools. Tools change. Oftentimes, the system process does not. So if you're wondering, you're getting into coaching or you've been coaching for about 10 years or whatever, plans matter. Solid plans matter. Usually the plan is derived from goals. Well, we could talk about that another day, but regardless of that, you should know what you're going to do this week on every single day for the most part, pertaining to building, growing, sustaining, maintaining your business. If you don't, you've got work to do. At least you know you've got work to do in building solid, relatable plans that matter to give you traction. Every day should not be a new idea. Every day should not be a new thingamajig. Just because you see something work with somebody else doesn't mean I should just completely collapse the plans that I have in lieu of something brand new to it. 'Cause I think this is going to be the one. No, you got to stick to it, which is what that podcast was all about. Okay. But prayerfully, that helps give you some when we talk about the word plans on how to do it, there's no one way to do it specifically per se. A lot of similarities maybe, but there's no one way to do it. But regardless of how you do it, you want to break it down into editable, achievable, daily, actionable items that connect back to your overall goal. That's how you make the plans work. There you go. Hope that helps. Until next time, take care.